What is the most disgusting verse in the Quran? Surah 65 verse 4 confirms that men can marry little girls who are too young to menstruate even after they have been divorced. With me here in studio to unpack this from Islamic sources and commentaries, our dear brother David Wood. David, the Quran itself actually endorses this.
And this is important because, as we've seen, when we raise the issue of Muhammad and Aisha, Muslims at first will try to say, no, she was much older than 9. And then we show them what their sources say. But then they'll argue that she had reached puberty. And they'll say that in Islam, you have to reach puberty. We show from their sources that Aisha hadn't reached puberty. But notice, it's strange for them to even make the argument that Aisha must have reached puberty, not just because of what's in the hadith, but also what's in the Quran. If it's wrong to have sex with a girl before she's reached puberty, why does the Quran allow men to have sex with girls before they've reached puberty? And so what you have in Surah 65 verse 4 of the Quran is that Allah had already revealed that if a man wants to divorce a woman, he should divorce her, and then the woman should wait 3 monthly menstrual cycles before she gets married to another man, so that there's no confusion if a child is born. But Muhammad's companions eventually raised the issue, well, what about our wives that we're divorcing who don't have a monthly menstrual cycle? What do we do in those cases? And there were basically 3 categories. There were women who were too old to have a monthly menstrual cycle, little girls who haven't reached the age of puberty, so they don't have a monthly menstrual cycle, and pregnant women.
That's right.
So Surah 65 verse 4 is to give a ruling on those situations. Yeah,
exactly.
And we'll go ahead and read the Hilleli Khan translation here. They add a little bit of commentary to show what it means, but it's exactly what we're saying. So Surah 65 verse 4. And those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, so these are women who are too old, for them, the Iddah, that's the waiting period before you can marry again, for them, the Iddah, prescribed period, if you have doubt about their periods, is 3 months. And then it goes into a different category of wives. And for those who have no courses, i.e. they are still immature, their Iddah, prescribed period, is 3 months likewise, except in case of death. So here, Allah gives the ruling that if a girl who is still immature, she doesn't have a monthly menstrual cycle, if you divorce her, then she has to wait 3 months because she doesn't have a monthly menstrual cycle. So you just wait 3 months instead. But notice what this is actually saying. Obviously, you can get married to a girl before she's reached puberty. You can have sex with her and divorce her, and then she has to wait 3 months before she can get married again, but she hasn't reached puberty. And so the next guy can marry her after 3 months, have sex with her, divorce her, all of this before she's ever reached the age of puberty. And so the Quran is actually giving rulings, and it's assumed that you can have sex with a prepubescent girl.
I want to add Tafsir al-Jalalain, by the way, which people can go to altafsir.com.
I actually had those.
Excellent. You can go because that confirms, and it's in English. People can go and read it for themselves. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we're gonna look at that on the screen, because notice there are lots of Muslims who they think Islam is wonderful. These are the same Muslims who, if you tell them Muhammad had sex with a little girl, they'll say no way. Because they're convinced already that he's great and wonderful. And so the idea of him having sex with a 9-year-old girl they can't believe it, right? But it's similar with the Quran. They think of the Quran as this wonderful book that's giving the best rules ever. And if you tell them the Quran actually allows sex with prepubescent girls, they say you're making it up, right? So this verse isn't the clearest verse in the world. You have to understand what questions it's answering and the previous background and what issues this is claiming to respond to. Once you understand all of that, then it is clear what it's saying. But just to show that we're not alone in interpreting it this way. Let's go to some of the greatest Islamic commentaries of all time. So this is the tafsir of Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir, considered by many to be the greatest Quran commentator of all time. The heading here is the Iddah of those in menopause and those who do not have menses. He says, Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause, and that is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her older age. Her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah. And then notice, the same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their iddah is 3 months like those in menopause. So not according to me, not according to Al-Fadi, according to Ibn Kathir, the greatest Quran commentator of all time, this is talking about girls who are so young they have not reached the years of menstruation.
And that's 700 years after allegedly the revelation of this verse. Apparently this practice is still going on, and Ibn Kathir has no problem.
No problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
But suppose we don't like Ibn Kathir. Let's go. And here we have Tafsir Jalalain, which you were bringing up. So the commentary on Surah 65 verse 4, and as for those of your women who no longer expect to menstruate, so these are grown women, if you have any doubts about their waiting period, their prescribed waiting period shall be 3 months, and also for those who have not yet menstruated because of their young age. So girls who have not menstruated specifically because they're too young. Interestingly, the next commentary, this is Tafsir of Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas gives the historical background of the verse. Notice what he says. Yeah. So, and for such of your women as despair of menstruation because of old age, if you doubt about their waiting period, their period of waiting shall be 3 months. Upon which another man asked, O Messenger of Allah, what about the waiting period of those who do not have menstruation because they are too young? Along with those who have it not because of their young age, their waiting period is 3 months. So notice, someone actually raises his hand. Muhammad, what about girls who are too young to have a monthly menstrual cycle? And that would have been a good place for Muhammad to say, what? You can't do that.
Exactly. And Ibn Abbas is the father of Islamic commentaries, and he is the cousin of Muhammad.
And so this is a pretty high authority here. Notice all of the most respected Quran commentators of all time are agreeing on what this means. But just to show that there are Muslims who are honest about this, even today, let's look at a modern, very popular Muslim da'i who admits what the Quran is saying. And so this is going to be from Muhammad Hijab. We're going to look at some video clips. And his position is actually that if you just go with the Quran, you'll conclude that you could have sex with a 5-year-old. Because that's all it says, as long as she hasn't reached puberty. But he believes that you have to go outside of the Quran. So I just want to clarify that. He's not saying that it's okay to have sex with 5-year-olds. He's saying if you just had the Quran. He's saying you have to go to the hadith to find out that you should wait till she's a little bit older. But let's go ahead and check out a clip from our good friend, Muhammad Hijab.
If you look just at the Quran, you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. The reason why it's haram to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old is not found in the Quran at all. If you just read the Quran, it is halal, it would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. In Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. And then he says, وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ, and the ones who had never been pubescent before. And by the way, this is very important, yeah? I want all Muslims to be aware of this. The reason why we don't have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds or whatever is not because of puberty. Wait a minute, what did you say? It's not because of puberty, because that verse in the Quran actually says لَمْ يَحِدْنَ. They never had puberty before. You can't go around that. The Quran doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that the woman has to be pubescent. I dare you to find one verse in the Quran where it says you're not allowed to marry someone based on harm, or you're not allowed to have sexual intercourse based on harm, or you're not allowed to marry someone based on puberty. So if you're a Quran alone, you're allowed to have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds. Get me one verse in the Quran which says the woman has to be pubescent. One verse. I want one verse in the Quran from the beginning of the book to the end of the book which says that she has to be pubescent.
I've just said that.
So okay, so that makes it halal from your perspective. From your perspective, it's halal. You know, in the Quran it says, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ. It says you're not allowed to marry your mum. It says you're not allowed to marry your sister, your auntie. Where does it say you're not allowed to marry a prepubescent? I'm looking for one verse that you can say, you pinpoint it and say this is where it says prepubescent marriage or whatever is not allowed. So if you're Quran alone, you're steered towards pedophilia, and a severe type of pedophilia, a wife abuse, a severe type of wife abuse.
You know, I like his reasoning.
Yeah, notice this is a popular Muslim speaker saying that if you just go with the Quran on this, you would conclude that it allows a severe type of pedophilia.
Yeah, and he acknowledged that it is a pedophilia going by the Quran.
A severe type of pedophilia. So this is why we say this is the most disgusting verse of the Quran, and why Muslims who try to say, oh, Aisha must have reached puberty because Islam would never allow that. Allah himself allows sex with prepubescent girls, not just according to us, according to the Quran, according to the hadith, according to the greatest Islamic scholars of all time, and even according to Muhammad Hijab when he's being honest. So absolutely reprehensible.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this clip, by the way. And I think it's fair to say that next time we'll revisit this clip and even expand a little bit further on what Muhammad Hijab was saying concerning Quran-only interpretation versus obviously he's going to allude to other sources that you need to rely on. So that's why we share these things with you, and we are sharing it from the horse's mouth in this case, one of their own, you know, a very known apologist in the modern Islamic field of apologetics. And we are quoting also from Islamic sources. We have projected it for you on the screen, giving you the sources where you can go and find it. Some of it is even found in English. So it's easy for you, if you don't read Arabic, to be able to read it as well. Thank you, David. Can't wait until next time. Thank you, everyone. This is Al-Fadi. God bless you. Take care. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, CIRA International, and click on the bell so that you receive notifications whenever we publish a new video or go live. I would also like to appeal to you to consider becoming a Patreon patron by clicking the link right below. By doing so, you can give towards the production of these videos. There are also other options for you where you can give to our channel. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.